Welcome to P Passionate W World, R Radio N Network, LLC, a multimedia company. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Boston, Massachusetts, Liverpool, England, Melrose, Florida, Los Angeles, California, Fullerton, California, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois are one of the many broadcast homes of PWRN, a multimedia company. The world in your hands. And now, without further ado, let me present to you one of our many hosts and their programs.
Well, good evening, one and all. This is Flash Silvermoon speaking to you live from Melrose, Florida, with What the Animals Tell Me. And this is the first time I've been able to do one of the shows in this series since before all the storms. So it's been a time, and I'm sure many of you listening have also had some challenging experiences. I'm wanting to share this story with you of my experience so that you may also get some good ideas of how to take care of your animals under these circumstances. And before good old Irma hit town, I had been posting and actually doing a lot of programming about dealing with storms and how to try to push them away with the 3 Ds, which is divert, the other D is dissipate, and the last one is dissolve. And certainly tried that for a good long while. And, of course, it's never kosher to send it somewhere else. You always want to ask that when you're asking the storm to move, that it go to the place where it can do the most good and the least harm for the highest good of all. So it's with respect and good ethics that you work with a storm in that way. So anyway, here's the story. And I did this every night through this 5, 6, 7 days of having no electric and also not having a functioning phone for a good amount of the time. So I will share some of this with you. Riding the storm out with Irma, September 11, 2:15 a.m. This is when the writing started. No electric, but lots of power everywhere. So glad for candles and a special battery-operated lantern. Seems like it's a little calmer now as I sit in my office at Moonhaven. Happy, that's my dear dog, is laying quietly, which is a good sign. The animals know. Feeling all the amazing crystals and other medicines in this room, most potent rare stones, Green Hope Farms flower essences, my gem elixirs, starlight elixirs, and food-grade essential oils. Spiritual soup to nuts, but no electricity. Images of my wise woman's tarot grace the walls, as well as other goddess images from around the world. I have found myself in deep prayer most of the night, especially after the electricity was gone, leaving this house dark. After I was sure that I had secured all that I could, little weed settled my nerves, just a bit, so that I could try to get some sleep. Not likely. Rain pouring down as the winds whipped around, I found myself having conversations with my friends and animals on the other side. At long last, I found myself having these conversations, and I had removed China Moon's grid from the gazebo. She was my wonderful horse, and set it up artfully in the bathroom on this pile of books that lived there. I imagined my wonderful Appaloosa mare Spirit racing around Moonhaven, creating a circle of protection. I'm alone with Happy, but we surely are not alone. I called my dear friend Cindy while I still had a phone to get some info on the storm and for her wise words and vision to settle me down. We both put a dome over all of Moonhaven and especially my house and car. As intuitive as I am, being inside this maelstrom can blur the picture. She gives me some timetables as far as the weather report can offer, telling me she will call back if there's a major change. My funky Panasonic wall phone, the only one working, is my lifeline to the outside world. I remember sitting here like this many years ago, looking at the awakening card from the Wise Woman Tarot on another dark, stormy night without electricity, when I wrote the song Pisces Moon, which appeared on my second CD. This night also had a hurricane raging outside with a full moon in Pisces, which we actually had just gone through. Seems like writing through this time soothes my spirit and keeps my mind from engaging in worry and fear. Strong bands of wind and rain pound on the roof, and I'm wondering if this is the eye of the storm. My wind-up radio is no help right now, so I just let it be. And I'm almost cool enough, thanks to the wild winds and having kept my AC on very high before all the electric went off, when I still had it. It took a long time. It took a long, long shower outside right before the power and the storm did their thing. Just a long shower outside and a hot meal just as the storm began, figuring out. I'm thinking, won't be a shower for a while or hot food, so better do it. No boarded up windows as the 10-foot-high red spike plants and grandmother tree have their arms wrapped around Moonhaven. We got our mojo working, as well as prayers from many others around the country, knowing that Cindy not only helped my dome be secure and securing the place, but that she also saw us being safe, brings me continued comfort. Had long discussions with the spirit of Tara, Omi, Cherie, and Kathy, and both Kays, as well as my dear tiger friends Duke and Dante, and of course my dear cat Star. Basically, a psychic APB to all my friends on the other side. 2:45 a.m., hoping and wondering that Irma is headed for Georgia, but not at all sure that she's finished with us here. Remembering some automatic writing that I did in this very room 2 years before 9/11, where I described in great, great detail the horrid event that occurred on 9/11, and proceeded then to forget all about it until years later. The closeness of that date is not lost on me, and yet I do not feel the inevitability of terrorism unless it is some shadowy energy from the dark side. So glad to be at Moonhaven and not a shelter. As comfortable and uncomfortable as this process is, I am home and surrounded by all that helps me feel empowered. Typically, I have a great relationship with my trees. We'll see just how good when the dawn comes. Slurp down some arbor garden flower essence, which makes everybody feel like they're being held by angels, thanks to wonderful people at Green Hope Farms. And I gave Hap some of hers, which her mixture in specific, and I spritzed both of us with my Golden Armor Gem Elixir. I was feeling the heat and needed to open up my lungs. I inhaled some Raven Sarah oil and also a great combo called Dolphin Breath from Helen at Earth Angel Oils. I'm kind of worried about her, as I haven't heard about her or from her since Harvey, and she lives in that part of Texas. So I've tried a few times and still no news. And I know that's how so many of us are feeling right now. From here in Florida, Texas, Puerto Rico, Mexico, the West Coast fires. It's a time. It is quite the time. My cluster of friends had a plan to check on each other, and some of us did. Hard to connect, though, and keep preparing at the same time. So hard to know when to cover the doors that you will not open. Because, you want to cover them to make sure if the water rises, it won't get in. But you don't want to shut them so that you and your dog can't go out for a minute if it's not that necessary to close them. So just sort of figuring it all out as it all evolves. And my grid, goodness, is now in my bedroom and may stay there or not as time evolves. It's quite the time. And not only is my office now full of the usual crystal suspects, but I have 2 large boxes, just loads of strong, powerful crystals from my white room outside where I create the gem elixirs so that I could protect them from the wrath of the storm. You got to try to think of everything and not do too much. It's an interesting balance, very interesting balance. And let me take a very quick break, and I'll be right back with you to tell you more about riding the storm out, riding the storm of Irma.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Robertson, host of TV Confidential. Thank you so much for listening to our program on PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. If you like TV Confidential or any of the other programs you hear every week on PWRN, please consider supporting this station by becoming a patron of Passionate World Radio Network through Patreon. It is easy to do. It won't cost you more than a few dollars per month. And best of all, you will help PWRN continue to educate, enlighten, and entertain our global audience of 10 million strong and growing. For more information, go to patreon.com/PWRN. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/PWRN. And thank you again for listening.
This is Flash Silvermoon. Welcome back to What the Animals Tell Me and riding the storm out. Irma. I'm trying to view the whole process as one of transformation. My mother is getting very close to being on the other side of the veil, and she actually called to see how I was doing, which she rarely does. She's kind of wrapped up in herself, and I'll soon be the only member of my immediate family alive, which tends to bring mixed feelings. Happy is both my mother and child, and she climbs into the client's chair in my office, which she finds very cozy. She loves being in the office always. We'd been snuggling in bed some hours ago But as the morning comes, the office felt right. Everyone loves this room, which is totally gridded with high-energy crystals. Candles are strategically placed around the house and will be snuffed at first light, unless, of course, I fall asleep first. One never knows. Isis, Astarte, Hecate, Kali, Medusa, White Buffalo Woman, Morrigan, Bast, Mot, Obatala, Sappho, and many others grace the walls of this room, bringing comfort and protection. Feng shui of this room in the house is the helpful friends corner. This room indeed has many helpful friends' energies from this dimension and others, sending their support. The eagle sculpture sits behind my clock, telling me it's now 3:15 a.m. Dawn comes soon, maybe even a little rest. As I remember this time, it was like the hardest time was at night, and everything always seemed better once the dawn came, even if it wasn't all that better. Breakfast might be hard-boiled eggs and pretzels instead of fried, or maybe some cold cereal and banana, orange, peach. My food choices are always a challenge for me these days, and now even more so. There's no telling how long it will be before I have warm food. I divine all my choices with my pendulum, from food to supplements, choosing only that which is the most beneficial for my gut, which has been troublesome for the last year or so. And at this time, I have to be really careful. A few homeopathics complete the picture for me and the hapster. As one of my songs says, what a time to be alive, standing on the edge of time. It's raining so hard again. One wonders where all the water will go. Glad to be inland and equidistant from either coast. Before I moved from New York City, I had researched fault lines and the like, so that I could settle in a place to go through the earth changes. And these surely are the earth changes. So here I am, writing out the earth changes, but a little more solitary than I had intended, and so it is for now. My last post on Facebook before the lights went out was with my dear friend Louisa Tisch, who had just returned from South America, and suggested that we had better have a serious talk with the spirit world, which I have certainly taken quite seriously. The rain comes stronger again, and the winds come too. Divert, dissipate, dissolve. Yes, dissolve, Irma, like White Buffalo Woman once did in a vision, but no Shaktipat this time. Dawn comes soon, dawn comes soon. So very tired. This is the night watch, which I seem to endure whenever there's a national emergency. Wouldn't mind not being so intimate with the collective, but I just am. The next day, Monday, 5:45 p.m. Exhaustion. Up with dawn. We survived. The house is fine. Apartment has some water. Blow out the candles and look for a time for Happy to go out. Smith comes to check on me. Phone wakes me up at 8 and then ceases to work. Shit, I wonder. Rain most of the day. but have never been so glad to see the sun, taking pleasure in just sitting near whatever pockets illuminate the house. Just a little light makes you feel better. I restore my grid now in the bedroom and tweak it to make it just right by the light of the little lantern. Finished my lunch. Breakfast was at 11 a.m. Crazy schedule. Heavy psychic downloads for days. Really loads of feelings. And my head feels like a balloon. If I knew that I would have either electric or phone, for sure, on Wednesday, I would read this to you. And that was, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I thought, yes, I will read this story. But nothing for now. Just accepting love and life. 6 p.m., soon time to relight the candles and nap a little. Move some things from freezer to cooler. Happen me adjusting our eating and sleeping routines. Thank Goddess for cool weather, as one without air is not pretty. Still, too scary to go out far. I still see my pyramid and white room and the gazebo and, of course, my beautiful live oaks that frame the house. Blessed be the trees that stand around Moonhaven as protective shields, watchers that honor my work, this sacred space. Tonight will be better, I tell myself. I have to keep telling myself that. 10:20 p.m., thanks to Happy, had a sumptuous meal. She woke me up, and I was pissed because I thought she just wanted to go outside. This was a really intense experience because my meal times had shifted so badly, and I had eaten lunch at 5. And she woke me up, I thought, to go out, but she woke me up because she is such a wise animal. She knew that my blood sugar was going to be crashing. So I thought, I'll just have a little snack. I thought that I'd already eaten dinner. And as I peeled a banana and started eating my, quote, snack, I looked at the clock and I just thought, this is no snack. This is dinner time. I'm diabetic. I don't take much medicine, but I better take the little bit I need to take and eat a real meal. And really, thank goodness she woke me up because I might not have been here eating no food for way too many hours. So I got one special dog, and that is Happy. And it's just about time to take another break. So I will take a quick break and be right back with sort of the ending of this particular story.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Robertson, host of TV Confidential. Thank you so much for listening to our program on PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. If you like TV Confidential or any of the other programs you hear every week on PWRN, please consider supporting this station by becoming a patron of Passionate World Radio Network through Patreon. It is easy to do. It won't cost you more than a few dollars per month. And best of all, you will help PWRN continue to educate, enlighten, and entertain our global audience of 10 million strong and growing. For more information, go to patreon.com/PWRN. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/PWRN. And thank you again for listening.
Okay, this is Flashback, Flash Silvermoon, with What the Animals Tell Me, wrapping up riding out the storm, Irma. And I just explained to you about how Happy woke me up to make sure that I treated my blood sugar and didn't just pass out. And, there's many dogs that people pay thousands of dollars to get the dogs to learn stuff like that. Thing is, people don't need to pay thousands of dollars to train the dogs. They just need to learn to listen to the animals that know to do it anyway. And, she was a tremendous comfort to me, and I to her, of course. And she kept herself pretty cool. And the gem elixirs that I make and sprayed on her really, really help. Should you need something to keep your animals calm, the gem elixir that I make, Golden Armor, is probably the top of the heap of that type treatment. But the lithium quartz is also really good for people or animals that just need to chill. So, with the gem elixirs and the flower essences and just really talking and being loving and paying attention to each other, we got through. And, okay, 8:50 p.m., cell phone. No electric or landline. Good news. Mom will get me a generator. The little fan, the battery-operated fan, works pretty miserably. And I'm trying to stay cool enough for now. But things did get pretty rough because those little fans gobbled up batteries. And then they're also hard to put batteries in them because it's so dark. I think it was the dark of the moon when that conked out on me. And everybody that I knew, for one reason or another, they couldn't get out of their houses. That was another thing. A lot of people just couldn't even get out their driveways because there was too much trees down, water down, everything. And I actually did have to call the police to come, which was slightly embarrassing, but I really thought that I was going to pass out from the heat. And they came and they said, well, we want to take you to a shelter. I said, no. What about taking you to the hospital? No, I'm not doing very well, but all I need you to do is help me get the batteries in this damn little thing, crack this window, and I'm going to put on a wet T-shirt, and that's how I'm going to get through the rest of this night. And I had buckets of water on the back porch, and that would be something I would pour over my head from time to time, just to keep cool. I mean, you got to learn some tricks, and certainly I did with my bathtub full of water for flushing the toilet, and on and on. If you've lived under situations where you have power outages with some regularity, you learn stuff. And both Happy and I learned quite a bit this particular time. I've been digging deep into my spiritual weather. We really needed someone to come and cart away so much of the limbs, still do, But we will have some help over the weekend. And it's a trick trying to work it all out. How to balance your time. How to keep really in touch with what's needed. And I can't tell you how happy I was when I finally got electric. Oh, my goodness. I had just walked onto the back porch and took a big bucket of water and poured it over my head. And it was like I sizzled. And then the lights came on. And I cried. It was like, holy mackerel, here it is. Thank Goddess, thank Goddess. I am so appreciative because not only did I need it, but Happy has a thick black coat. So we managed. But wow, I'll be very happy to never go through this again. So everybody, I hope that this has been an interesting story for you. And I'll be signing off now. Glad to share this memory with you. Many blessings. Flash Silvermoon signing off.
Thank you for listening to Passionate World Radio Network, a multimedia company. You can listen to this program all over again at PassionateWorldRadioNetwork.com, Facebook.com/PWRN, Twitter.com/PWRN, GooglePlus.com/PWRN. Distinguish yourself from the ordinary. And remember, please keep listening.